Well, now we're going to get serious. While I'm going to have you write, this next lesson is really not necessarily about writing, it's about all communication. I want to see your writing, and the reason I want to see your writing is that is evidence. It's evidence of how you think, it's evidence that you understand the communication process, understand punctuation, grammar, whatever. Anything you put in writing, it will always be used as evidence, and people will pull it out, like 10, 5, 15 years from now. Doesn't matter, and they'll use that as evidence of your competence or not. So you're going to need to be careful. But this really isn't necessarily about writing. Again, the writing is evidence. This is all communication. It starts with your nonverbal, your posture, your facial expressions, your attitude. And it goes up to writing, it goes up to speaking. But this is all communication. Now, in business communication, a couple of issues here. Number one is you need the one sentence rule. The one sentence rule is about this. Don't start until you know what you want to be as an outcome. When I was a doctoral student, my major professor, I shared an office for 2.5 years with a major professor, just a wonderful guy, just wonderful, taught me an awful lot. Anyway, one of the main things is I used to just ramble on and on and on. I couldn't get to the point. So if I did that, what he would do is he would make me go sit out in the hallway and think about what it is I wanted to accomplish, and I had to tell him that in a one simple sentence without punctuation, and then he'd talk to me, and then I could go ahead and proceed. Now, that was humiliating. It was embarrassing because people would walk by in the hall. Oh, you're out there in the hallway again. But it taught me a lesson. In business, you don't get into formal business communication until you want something to happen. So there's always got to be a call to action. If you don't have something you want to happen, then it's just social conversation. You can just go ramble on and have a good, nice, gentle conversation. But if you want something to happen, if this is business, then make sure you know what that is. You know what you want that outcome to be before you start. Now, again, this is all communication. All communication in business escalates. You always start out nice, you become a little bit more, forceful, and at the very end, if you can, you give a direct order. But the goal here is to always accomplish what you want with the least amount of energy and the least amount of political damage. Anytime you tell somebody to do something, there's always a little bit of tension, a little bit of stress there. So what you're after here is to eliminate that accumulation of stress. Enemies accumulate in business. Eventually, you wind up with, if you're not careful, you wind up offending so many people that it's career limiting. So my goal here is to teach you how to get things done in ways that are not career limiting. So it always starts with a very simple, if it's non-controversial, just nothing to it. You know the person, you trust the person, just a nice direct statement, this is what I want. Okay, that works in a non-controversial situation with somebody you really know and okay, they like you. If that doesn't work, the next step up is a letter of, it's complaint. And basically, it's what you're doing with a complaint is you're assuming that you're dealing with an honorable person, a nice person, who, if they know what happened, what the problem is, they'll fix it. Now, if that doesn't work, the next step up is to try to persuade the person that if they do what it is you want them to do, that there's something really in it for them. Now, the way this works is it can't be that there's something in it for the company, for the employees. It's got to be personal, okay? If that doesn't work, the final straw then, the final statement is always the direct order. Be careful if you give a direct order. Make sure that if you give a direct order that you have the authority, the ability to make that happen. Because if you give somebody a direct order, it's ignored, they don't have to do it, and then you get reprimanded. Basically, your credibility is gone. It's going to take you a long time to rebuild that if you ever can. So, in summary, number one, this is about all communication. It's not about writing. It's just that writing is evidence. It's something that people will use, and it lets me know what your logic is, your thought process is. The second is you don't start this formal business communication unless you want something to happen. The third thing is you always start nice, and then you walk up the ladder. It escalates. So that's it. That's what we're going to do here. This is really important. I can't leave this lesson until I'm convinced that everybody in this room can do it. So we're going to get started on this, and I hope it works out well for you. It's worked out well for me. What's interesting is I'll get myself into a situation where I have a controversy, and my mind goes, and I start getting emotional. And then if I can all of a sudden revert back to, wait, I teach this stuff. I know how this works, and I can follow the steps, then I tend to be successful. If I let my emotions overcome me and I don't follow the steps, that's when I get in trouble. So let's go forward with this. I'm trying to teach you how to be powerful, how to make things happen without accumulating enemies.